Bam! My peoples. My peoples. Welcome to Boxing for Breakfast. I'm your host, Jay Smith, and we're about to deliver a healthy dosage of sweet science early in the morning, my peoples. It's 6:30, and this is the third episode of Shadow Band J. Yes, sir. Apparently, your boy been shadow banned on YouTube, this very platform. I don't know why, but people are not getting the notifications. They have no idea that I'm live. And this is day number 3. So while I'm under a shadow ban, I'm gonna have these episodes under the shadow ban episodes. And I don't know how much time this takes, what the process is, but here we go, my peoples. Today, we talking boxing. We talking about Jake Paul, Tank Davis, and there's some different talking points to be addressed, and we're gonna be talking about it today. Jay Will in the building. Good morning, my brother. Appreciate you dropping in. Bam, Jay Will. I got that notification on the money. Whoa, whoa. Could it be that the shadow ban only lasted those 3 days, those 2 days? We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out. You're the first person, Jay Will, who has said that they got a notification in the last 3 days. Everybody had not gotten it. So let's see if that could mean something. Ernest Morales, bendiciones, hermano mío. Saludando, saludando. You already know what it is. We talking boxing, doing what we do. This is the Boxing for Breakfast Lost Shadow Band episodes that you're dealing with right here. Um, my peoples, today, the main talking point. Woo, Ernest Morales got that notification too. It looks like, whoa, let's see what's going on out here. Let's see if we're about to be back in the mix. Um, there's an angle that I want to tackle when it comes to Tank Davis and Jake Paul. And it's the following. You guys know that that's obviously an exhibition fight. But Jake Paul's gonna have the opportunity to share the ring with Tank Davis in an exhibition where they're both gonna make millions and millions of dollars, right? There's a lot of fighters who would like to share the ring with Tank Davis. A lot of guys who've been boxing for years, who've been world champions, who've accomplished in the ring, and they haven't been able to get that opportunity. But Jake Paul will share the ring with Tank Davis. What does that really tell us? You think about it. A guy who hasn't beaten a professional boxer yet in his pro career, because the only fighter he faced was Tommy Fury. He lost, right? And he gets to fight Tank Davis. Of course, it had to be an exhibition because there's too much of a difference in weight. That could never have been a real fight. Um, so what does this tell us? Very simple. It says a lot about where popularity can place a fighter. How good you are can take you to the top, but popularity can take you to the top faster. Think about it. We have a Jake Paul whose name has been floated around with Canelo Alvarez, where it looked like an exhibition could have happened. And now we have Jake Paul sharing the ring with Tank Davis, one of the biggest names in boxing, and by some even considered the face of boxing. So, what would I suggest that means? It means that young fighters have to take note of this. And they have to understand that their popularity is also going to open doors. Think about it. If Jake Paul is doing what he's doing, imagine if that was a young fighter, a young prospect coming up with that level of popularity who's actually really good, who's actually really talented, and opening all these doors and all these. But again, that's all about Jake Paul star power. Jay Will, this new generation shows get popular first on social media, then become a boxer. I mean, I wouldn't say get popular first on social media and then become a boxer, because then you're gonna end up like Jake Paul. You might be able to find success as far as making money, but you're never gonna become an elite level fighter. You're never gonna become a world champion. I'm talking about young fighters, young elite level fighters should look to become popular early on. Already, you should. If you have that type of talent, where when this kid turned pros, he's gonna be pursuing titles. He's gonna try to become, make history and all that good stuff. You should already be doing everything you can to make yourself popular, to grow your brand. Why? Because there will be guys who are less talented, but, but more popular. And those guys will get the opportunities. Those guys will get the title shot before you. They'll get on the big stage before you. They'll have more followers on all social media platforms. They'll get the deals, the endorsements, and all that stuff. While you're sitting there, way more talented, but people just don't know you like that. So that's it. It's not even about just your talent. If you go by just your talent, it could take very long to become popular. If you go by just what you're doing inside the ring and that's it, it might take a while before people catch on, before people want to follow you. Before, why? Because in this day and age, where most boxing fans follow it via social media, if you're not on there, if you're not popular, if you're not being talked about, that's going to translate into what we see in your career. People not watching your fights, people not showing a lot of interest, you not becoming a big name. All of that happens, and this is part of it. So, popularity, Jake Paul is showing us you can become popular enough to get a shot at the best, at the pound for pound guys, at the world champions, without having to actually take all the steps that the average Joe has to take. You go straight to the top. So all I'm saying is that can happen with a real boxer. I'm talking about somebody, who been boxing since they was a kid, with the amateur pedigree, all that stuff. Make them super popular, like Jake Paul, and create his YouTube channel and have him doing YouTube videos and all that stuff. And he's gonna get the big fights and all the opportunities and all the doors are gonna open. Jay Will, or get a hype man like Bill Haney. I mean, you could get a hype man like Bill Haney, but you have to be talented. All that stuff that he's talking about, you better be able to back it up in the ring. Because if you got a hype man and you out there getting beat up, you ain't your hype man gonna get embarrassed out there. So you better show out. If you have a hype man talking all that talk like Bill Haney be doing it, bro, you need to be ready. You need to be ready, and every fight show out. And that's exactly what Devin Haney has done. He has that lone situation with Ryan Garcia, because we could say it was a loss, then it was overturned, it's a no contest, but still he got beat up, right? Regardless of the decision being overturned, you're not going to erase it from our memory. We watched him get beat up. But that's been the only little hiccup in his career. Devin Haney has been flawless. Agent 17, salute Jay Smith. Good morning, good morning. And good morning, everybody tuning in. Some of the people who have joined this morning told me that they got the notification. So this is episode 3 of Boxing for Breakfast, the shadow ban episodes. I don't know when this shadow banning is gonna end. I don't know how it started, but I'm glad you guys found me. Welcome to Boxing for Breakfast, my people. We talking about the whole situation with Jake Paul and Tank Davis, and I'm pointing out the fact that Jake Paul is getting this opportunity because of his popularity, how big he has gotten, his social media following. And there he is. He's fighting Tank Davis. It's an exhibition fight. It had to be, two different weight classes. But how many boxers who are champions, Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney, all of them would like to fight Tank Davis. They all want to fight him. They can't get that fight. Accomplishments, all of them are accomplished. All of them would be a major, major fight with Tank Davis. Nope. Jake Paul gets a jump ahead of all of them and get that exhibition show. Agent 17 had to wake up at 5 a.m. for work, about to have an hour ride and gotta finish Project Sanity. US gone. I've been working 8-9 days straight. Golly, my brother. Salute to you, man, and do your best to not wear yourself out. Remember, that's important. Rest and taking some time to let the body reset is important. Jay Will, I thought Jake Paul losing to Tommy Fury was going to hurt him more. Honestly, I don't know, man, because you got to remember his popularity has never really depended on his boxing skills. So I don't think losing a fight in the ring is gonna hurt his brand at all, because we know that the type of opponents that he's facing, right? So if he gets, like, let me give you an example. If Jake Paul was to step in the ring versus another professional boxer around his age, around his size, around his weight, and he loses, I don't think that's gonna affect his brand at all. It's gonna be just kind of like Tommy Fury, like, okay, for the boxer, he lost. We knew it. We knew it. And he was competitive versus Tommy Fury, but Tommy Fury, how good really is he? And no disrespect to Tommy Fury, he can box, but obviously he's nowhere near the caliber of a Tank Davis, who's gonna be doing that exhibition with Jake Paul. Jay Will, yeah, his fans don't seem to mind. That's why the overwhelming majority of Jake Paul fans are not boxing fans. They're Jake Paul fans. So him losing is gonna. I could picture a Jake Paul fan like, so when he lost, he tried hard, he was competitive, he gave it all he had, which is gonna be all true. So if you're a fan of somebody, you're gonna look for a positive spin. He get his ass whooped, you're gonna look for a positive spin and say, yo, he did what he had to do. Made the bag, made his money. That's it. But I will say, with the fighters that are out there who could be fighting Tank Davis, who should be fighting Tank Davis, it's disappointing, bro, to see him fighting Jake Paul. It's disappointing to see one of the best fighters of this generation choose to do an exhibition fight over a rematch with Lamont Roach, who earned it. That's why the other day I said, yo, this is almost like a kneecapping exercise on Lamont Roach, because Tank Davis was his fight. That was his bag. That was his other opportunity on a big stage. Another shot to popularize his name. To fix that injustice from that last fight. Because we all know that wasn't the draw. They stole that from Lamar Roach. He could have came back to this rematch and beat him. Which, by the way, it's a great time for me to remind y'all that I said Lamar Roach was going to beat Tank Davis. I told you guys that. If you've been in the channel long enough, you know I said that. Isn't it ironic, or at least interesting, that I said Lamar Roach is going to whoop his ass and Tank Davis pulled out of the fight? Isn't that interesting? I don't know, but it seems like Tank and his team believe me. All those people who said Tank is going to knock Lamar Roach out in the rematch, he just wasn't the same. Yeah. Tank don't believe you. His team don't believe you. Jay Smith, so many Tank diehard fans say this fight is going to make Tank the biggest star in boxing. My God, no comment, bro. The Hydro Grind. Good morning, my peoples. Bam, salute, my brother. Appreciate you dropping in the Hydro Grind. You already know it. This is episode 3 of Boxing for Breakfast, the shadow ban episodes. That's it. From here on out, I'm counting the shadow ban episodes and putting it in a separate folder, the shadow ban series. That way, down the line, yo, there was some shadow ban episodes that you guys missed. If you want to tune in and check it out, we was talking about these people. But yes, sir, we in the building. Nothing stops the train. Jay Will, I hear them say Jake and Tank is going to do bigger numbers than Bud and Canelo. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all. We have to see. This is an exhibition fight, though, man. Like, there's no point in comparing an exhibition fight to a real fight. That's why, you know who's really drilling on that point? They're gonna make more money. The pocket watchers. We already know that the pocket watching has been out of hand since Tank Davis ducked Lamar Roach. That's been the go-to strategy to avoid the fact that he ducked Lamar Roach. The money, the money, the money, the money. So again, you know, how interesting is it for me? Who's gonna make more money? That shit is not interesting at all, my brother. I don't give a damn who's gonna make more money, who's gonna make more views. I just wanna watch. I just wanna enjoy. But the pocket watchers, they gotta build a narrative. It's all about building a narrative. It's all about trying to diminish Terrence Crawford. It's all about trying to say, look, this guy is better. And it's crazy because, wow, you really give more love to people doing an exhibition fight than you give to a guy moving up 2 divisions and fighting the face of boxing. That shit is sad, man. I'm telling you, the fans who think like that would ruin the sport of boxing. If boxing was hinging on what these fans want and what they want to debate and argue about, what they find interesting, boxing would collapse. That shit would go back to being a little bar sport where they just fighting in little bars and little venues. It would just collapse. The Hydro Grind. We still shadow ban, but Box Center will thrive regardless. You know it. You know it. A shadow banning, I think a shadow banning in the long run is just gonna help me. Somehow, some way. It's like, damn, I'm privileged enough to be shadow banned. Agent 17, bro, I saw a comment that said, if we was in old Tank position, we take the Jake fight for money. That's what I said, you know, is the pocket watchers. The pocket watchers always want to get in somebody else's feet. Oh, if I was in their feet, look at that shit. Imagine that if we was in Tank Davis' position. Now, how many of us have seen $1 million? How many of us got millions of dollars in the bank? If I don't got millions of dollars in the bank, why would I put myself in Tank position? I wouldn't. You're a pocket watching goofball. That's what you are. Talking about, if I was him, if we was him, we would do it. Man, shut the hell up. Last warning. Good morning. Let's get it. Last warning. Salute, my brother. Appreciate you dropping in. You already know it. Boxing for Breakfast, the shadow band episodes. This is the third one right here. The train don't stop, my peoples. And for those of you having breakfast, yo, enjoy your breakfast, man. If you're on your way to work, drive safely. I know you enjoying the show and whatnot. We don't want you crashing out there. Take it easy. And if you just woke up, hurry your goofy ass up, take your shower, get dressed, enjoy the show, have breakfast, and get your ass to work. Agent 17. For real, I told him to get the out of here. Man, that's what I'm talking about. Like, the pocket watching stuff to me is so... It's like another level of corny. And you know what makes it another level of corny? That pocket watchers only have that logic for specific fighters. If you pocket watch this dude, you're just going to talk about the money this dude make. And it's like you believe you could use your pocket watching goofy arguments in boxing conversation. Oh, who's the better fighter? Who's the better fighter? This guy's better. This guy. Yeah, but this guy put more butts in seats. And this guy sold more pay-per-views. Shut your goofy pocket watching ass up. We talking boxing over here. Come on, man. But again, popularity is what's going to open a lot of doors for a lot of fighters. If you're not popular, you're not getting that shot. You're not getting in the ring with that big name. You're not getting that opportunity. And of course, you're not going to get those endorsement deals and you know, all that other stuff that comes with it, with the popularity. The hydro grind. In Tank's position, I do understand his move. But that's the thing, that you understand his move because you want to understand it, my brother. If there was another fighter, you wouldn't understand it. You would be like, why he doing that? He duck. Listen, everybody who you could tell me duck, I could formulate that same argument that you're formulating in favor of Tank Davis. Look when Canelo didn't fight Boo Boo. When Canelo didn't fight Boo Boo, he went in and got 35 million to fight that guy, that UK guy. I can't remember his name right now. $35 million, bro. So did you also say, well, it makes sense in his book? Or even if you said it, did you see other people saying that, well, he didn't duck Boo Boo because it made sense in his book to move up and fight for $35 million? It was Caleb Smith. Think about that. Was the narrative that he ducked Boo Boo? Or was the narrative that, well, he moved up and made $35 million? So that made sense. You know, I'm going to put myself in his feet and make an argument in his favor. No. There's a chance, the hydro grind, that you may have been saying, he ducked Boo Boo. But why? He went on to make $35 million right after that. Why would you be ducking if you're making so many millions of dollars then? So again, the hydro grind. My whole point is, for Tank Davis, a whole new logic emerges, where now we play empathy fans. Let me get on your feet and see how you feel about it. And now I feel how you feel about it. And now I feel good that you're ducking one of the most anticipated fights of your career. You're ducking it, but you're gonna make a lot of money. And I, as a boxing fan, I don't care that you ducking. I feel good and I put myself in your feet. That's the craziest shit ever. I think that's the way that fans could ruin the sport of boxing. Because at the end of the day, we're not there. We're not the ones making the money. We're not the ones doing business. We're not the one in negotiations. We're not the ones benefiting from the amount of money that they get. That's up to them. And these fighters deserve to get millions of dollars. But when Tank Davis has been fighting for millions of dollars, the hydro grind, when you guys been telling us that he's the guy that makes the most money, he's the guy that sells the most pay-per-views, he's the guy that's putting out the butts in seats, he's the guy selling out the most venues. Bro, y'all been telling us that for years about Tank Davis. Now he need a payday in an exhibition fight. Where the hell all these millions gone to in the last 5 years that y'all been drilling on us about all this money that he make? Now he need an exhibition fight? And as a boxing fan, you'd rather get on his feet? Yeah, I understand from his point of view how he feeling. I understand it. I don't understand it. I don't understand you guys. Because I'm like, why would you not be disappointed that a fighter who you love watching could be in a rematch with a fighter who gave him the toughest fight of his life and anticipate a rematch? Why would you not be disappointed that he chose to fight an exhibition fight versus a YouTuber? The answer to that question is that for the first time ever, you chose to play empathy and put yourself in the fighter's feet. You never done that before, bro. Think about it. When have we ever seen people say, yo, that's not a duck, because if I was him, I would do the same thing? Bro, we never seen that ever, ever, bro. I've been following boxing for over 30 years. Never seen a boxing fan say, that's not a duck because he's going to make a lot of money. And I would do the same, and you would do the same. Canelo fought Caleb Smith for $35 million. Why don't we all do the same too? $35 million? But nobody said that. Nobody asked, wouldn't you do that too? For Tank Davis, we asking it. Why nobody said that for Canelo? Because the main focus was hating on him. The main focus was calling him a duck. Now, the main focus is finding an angle to defend Tank Davis. So even though he ducked, we all know he ducked, the argument is about the money now. The Hydro Grind, I'm super disappointed, bro. I would love to see him fight the top guys and not duck. But that's you, Lamar Roach. That's you, the Hydro Grind. But what is the narrative that you're seeing? The narrative that you're seeing is people just focusing on, well, he's gonna make a lot of money and we would all do the same. That's the main focus. The being disappointed and wanting him to fight the guys, nobody's saying that, bro. I'm not seeing Tank Davis fans posting about that. Like, yo, man, I'm disappointed. Tank should have fought this guy. Tank should have did this. Nah. The only thing I see is people flying right over the duck, acting like the duck doesn't exist. And just saying, yo, we would all do the same. Yo, he's making a lot of money. Yo, that's what we would do too. The main focus is on us feeling empathy for Tank and doing the same things that he would do. But that's never been a part of the argument in boxing conversation. That became a part of the argument now because people want to have empathy and say, I would do what Tank would do. That's never been part of the conversation, ever. The Hydro Grind, but he's been talking about retiring for years now, so get that money and get out of the sport. Okay, then. He's not after legacy, unfortunately. He's just thinking about retiring and money. Very true. But that's the thing. You see, just because of what he's thinking and what he's saying doesn't mean us as fans should not still pressure him to get the best fights, right? If we love boxing and we want to see the best fights, we should still see Tank fight Shakur, Tank fight Teofimo, fight Devin. You should still want those fights. But when you tell me, well, he's not thinking about legacy, so he's thinking about the money, so I would do the same. Then what you're telling me is that you're giving him a pass, and you're not really gonna put your foot on his neck about not fighting who he should be fighting. Cause that's it, he gave up. Well, that's it. He's good already. He done. Might as well chase the money. That's it. Tank Davis fans already got a frame of mind that no matter what he does, is good because fuck it, he's not chasing legacy. It's just about the money. That's it. His career has been a cherry pick career, and the rest of his career could be a cherry pick. Why? Because that's it. His fans made it clear. Yo, fight whatever you want, fight whoever you want, do whatever you want. We with you. That's it. Tank has a very loyal fan base. The Hydro Grind, very true. Most Tank fans are making excuses. That's crazy. And it's not just making excuses, looking for the weirdest angles and the weirdest way to try to justify Tank. Come on now. How many undefeated world champions in the middle of their prime have you ever seen duck a rematch and go fight an exhibition? Oh, my peoples, we probably never seen it in our life. I don't think I ever seen it. That's simple. I'll answer the question myself. Jay Will, Tank is about to be 31. He is who he is at this point. Abdullah Mason will prove to be a real killer. That's a fact. That is a fact. Abdullah Mason is going to do some special things in the sport of boxing. You can believe it. You can believe it 100%. Now, is he ready right now for the best? I don't know. I think he needs a little bit more. I don't think he's ready for a Shakur just yet, for a Devin. I think he needs more time. But Abdullah Mason is a special young fighter, man. He's going to accomplish a lot in the sport of boxing. The Hydro Grind. Abdullah is with Top Rank. They just put Wash Fighter in front of their boxers to build a resume. Until he fights someone for real, I don't know, man. By watching him, I could tell. I could watch him. I could see him and tell you Abdullah Mason is very, very special. I don't actually need him to beat anybody for me to know that. When he beats somebody, you know what's gonna happen to Hydro Grind? He's gonna prove it to you. And then I could be there to say, look, bro, I tried to tell you 2 years ago or 3 years ago or whatever it was. You needed to see evidence. There you have it. I already knew it, and I tried to tell you. The Hydro Grind. I like Schofield more. Abdullah Mason, I gotta tell you, will smoke Floyd Schofield. Smoke him. There's a reason why Floyd Schofield don't even mention Abdullah Mason's name, bro. There's a reason why. Don't even mention it. Shakur told him. Remember before him and Shakur, before Floyd and Shakur was gonna fight and it fell through? Shakur told him, yo, go fight Abdullah. You get past him, I'll give you a title shot. Floyd and his pops ain't want nothing to do with no Abdullah Mason, bro. That right there tells you. And look, Floyd can fight. Floyd Schofield, I got a lot of respect for him. Because he can fight. He can fight. And in his last outing, I said he was going to beat Tevin Farmer. And I say he was probably going to stop him. But a one-round obliteration, I did not expect. I didn't expect it. So, salute and shout out to Floyd Schofield, man. He a special fighter. He a special fighter. Bro, Schofield es dominicano. Hay que apoyar de nosotros. No, Floyd, oye, Floyd Schofield es mío, manito. He's a special fighter. But if I know that Abdullah gonna lump him up, I'm not gonna cap like that. That's my guy, but Abdullah gonna lump him up, bro. Jay Will, Kid Austin, and his dad ran from Shakur. Kid ducked Abdullah, exactly. Come on, bro. And look, like I said, Floyd Schofield is a heck of a fighter. I enjoy watching him. He's a special fighter. Power, speed, you know, the way that he applies pressure. You can see also that he's becoming more patient now. Before he would kind of seem like he was too jumpy, too aggressive, and get clipped with stuff that he shouldn't be hit with. And now you're seeing that maturity. You're seeing that development. So, yeah, I support Floyd Schofield 100%. I just don't think that he could be Abdullah Mason. Ernest Morales, all these freak shows will encourage more of the same, Jay. What can be done? I'm going to tell you what can be done, Ernest Morales. And I agree with you. Great question. So we see Jake Paul, you know, getting an exhibition fight with Tank Davis, right? And he previously was even in talks with Canelo. What does that tell us? It's about popularity. If you can reach a certain level of popularity, you're going to get certain opportunities. Doors are going to open for you. And based off of what Jake Paul is doing in boxing, young fighters need to take note. If you're, an amateur who, and this is what I would say personally, right? If right now you're an amateur who is going to the Olympics or has won internationally, has done big things in the amateur scene, won a lot of tournaments. If you're in that situation, you should already create your YouTube channel, create your Twitch, and start streaming live. Create, if you don't have, some fighters don't have Instagram, which is crazy. Make sure you have your Instagram. You have to go ham on social media. All of these young fighters who are in that situation where they're winning tournaments, they're being recognized, they have to go berserk on social media and grow their popularity. Have your YouTube channel, have your streaming platform, have your constant posts, your constant stories. Look for major sponsors. Try to get on TV, try to make commercials. You know why? That's the answer, Ernest Morales. Because think about this, if a guy like Jake Paul gets all the way to fight Tank Davis because of his popularity, what happens when a guy who won an Olympic gold medal happens to have a YouTube channel with 10 million subscribers and then he turns professional? How fast you think he's gonna be able to get a title shot? How fast you think he's gonna be able to fight for millions of dollars? The doors are just gonna open, bam, 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 and he's gonna have so many options, walk in the door that he wants to walk into because of that popularity. And once you have a bunch of real boxers who are that popular, guess what? There's not gonna be an avenue for a Jake Paul in boxing. You're gonna get shunned out because now we have real boxers, elite level boxers who are as popular as Jake Paul. When you start to have that, people like Jake, there's not going to be a spot for you. Remember, people watch Jake Paul because of his popularity. But what if there's boxers who have as many subscribers or more than him on YouTube and on the other platforms? Who are people going to watch? The real boxers who are as famous or this guy? So that's what happens. It's all about popularity. Jake Paul played the popularity game and he won. He's winning. Boxers have to follow that format because right now, winning is not going to be enough to get you that shot. We've seen it a lot of times. Guys who are really good still hoping, dreaming about a title shot. The Hydro Grind. Jake said he wants Anthony Joshua next. The circus show will continue. It looks like that fight will be made. They've already gone back and forth. And Eddie Hearn has spoke about it. That fight, that fight I could be in on. Not I could be in on, I'm in on that fight. Mainly because I want to see Jake Paul get knocked out. But because he's fighting a boxer once again. The Tank Davis thing is an exhibition show. But he's fighting a boxer once again. The Hydro Grind, very true. Right now, an average boxer with great social media skills will make more money than a disciplined, quiet Olympian. That's 100% facts. So, boxers need to chase that popularity without affecting, their training, their activity, everything that they do within the world of boxing. Outside of it, they have to do everything that they can to become popular. If you turn professional and nobody knows you, you got a long road ahead. If you turn professional and you don't have no social media following, you don't have, you don't have an Instagram for your boxing, you don't have a YouTube channel, you don't have anything, right? You just turn pro, you nice, you can fight, you turn pro. Nobody knows you. You got a very long, tough road ahead of you. Regardless of how good you are, you could be really good, but that's a tough situation to be in. Superman in the building. Salute, my brother. The Hydro Grind. The only influences boxing should be real fighters. The only influences in boxing should be real fighters like Ryan Teo Rowley. Well, I would say in their case, they're fighters who are influencers. And that's what we should have in boxing. Fighters who are influencers. Not influencers who become fighters to make money in that business. Influencers should carve a lane in exhibition fights. There you go. Boom. You can still make a lot of money. Go make your exhibition fights over there. And even make an exhibition fight league. All the influencers go over there. But if you think about it, Ryan, Teo, and Rollies, these are guys who they all have, well, not Rollies, but Teo and Ryan, they have amateur pedigree. They won on the amateur scene a lot. They won a lot of national tournaments. So these are guys who could fight, who was putting in work winning tournaments before they was on social media. The Hydro Grinds, exactly. Fighters who are influencers. That's what we need. That's what we need right there. Jay Will, the Hydro Grind, yeah. The social media bags will keep stuff like circus fights open. Brian Romero, Dios te bendiga, mi hermano. Saludando, hermanito mío. Se aprecia mucho. Amén. Y que Dios me lo bendiga. Jay Will, do you think Floyd fighting Conor McGregor did a disservice to the long-term health of boxing? Maybe. Maybe. It's hard to say, to be honest. And I'll point something out. And this is in Floyd's favor. He fought because there's two sides to every coin, right? I don't like the fact that he fought Conor McGregor because Conor McGregor was 0-0, making his pro debut versus the GOAT. That didn't even make no sense to me. But there's also the side that you got to look at where, okay, that's Floyd's 50th and last fight. He's retiring. He's 40 years old, I think he was at the time. So at 40 years old, why would you expect him or even want him to fight one of the best out there, to fight a young fighter or a young champion or a young bull like Keith Thurman who was chasing him at the time? That's crazy. That's crazy. So at his age, you got to accept that on your way out, 40 years old, here you go. Now you want to put yourself in Floyd's feet because of his age. That's the difference when I talk about Floyd Mayweather and Tank Davis. Tank Davis, 30 years old, dead in his prime, in the prime of his career, about to fight Jake Paul. Floyd Mayweather fought Conor McGregor when he was 40, about to retire. So there's that part of it that you have to take into consideration. Because honestly, any fighter who is that age and does that was an exhibition. That's the problem that I have with that fight. But any fighter who's that age and does an exhibition with a non-boxer, I don't have a problem with it. If Tank Davis was 40 years old, I wouldn't have a problem with it. So it's like Floyd, okay, he got a easy win to get to 50. Kind of cheated the system. But still, he was 40 years old. What could you really expect from Floyd at that age? Boxing on paper. Most of us fans, we want entertainment. We love trash talk, showboating, chaos, all that. I think Carmel critiqued Haney on that after his last fight, saying he got to give the fans more. I mean, look, boxing is a sport of different styles, and styles make fights. All of the different styles is what make boxing, including the way that Haney fought and got criticized for. I understand what Carmel said because obviously, if you're watching a fight, you want to see hard punches. You want to see the combination, boom, boom, boom. You want to see, when you watch Carmel Moulton fight, you know what you're going to get. You know, he's going to put all type of hands on his opponent. He's going out there with a killer instinct. But every fighter doesn't have that. Every fighter is not gonna go out there with that attitude. And we as fans are gonna see all type of different styles. Some of us are gonna say, nah, I only like this style, and some of us are gonna say, yo, I enjoy all of it, everything that comes with boxing. The Hydro Grind. What if this is Tank's last fight? Does he get a pass if he just retires after this? I mean, the Hydro Grind, you want to give him a pass no matter what, my brother. It's all up to the person. You've been dying to give him a pass anyways. And you're going to give him a pass. You already gave him a pass. Bro, the moment you said, well, you know, he's not about legacy anymore. He's just trying to get the back. You already gave him a pass, bro. You already gave him a pass. No 30-year-old fighter, no 30-year-old fighter in his prime undefeated champion ever gets a pass or will ever get a pass. You're a duck. There you have it, the Hydro Grind. Tank Davis is a effing duck. Jay Will, Rick Glazer has tripled down that Tank will never fight another real boxer again. Well, he did say that could change if Tank run out of money, but with the money that Tank Davis is going to make in this fight, that's highly unlikely, my peoples. Highly, highly unlikely. Tank will be having money for the duration. That's the way that's going to play out. So, with the money already in the bank, is he really going to step in and fight any of these guys that could beat him, that could take that O? Roach already put that blemish on his record. And look, man, here's what I want you guys to understand about boxing. Boxing is also about momentum. You see momentum shifting, momentum getting away from somebody. And let me give you an example. If you watch some fighters who started to get beat, you're going to notice that before they got, like undefeated fighters I'm talking about, you're going to notice that before they started to get beat, they showed a kink in the armor. You know, before they got beat, they started to be involved in real close fights that they barely won. And that's where you're like, okay, you see, you're stepping up, and there's people now that's getting closer to beating you. So usually that happens, you know. A guy fights and he's winning, but he's involved. Oh, let me give you an example. Edgar Berlanga. A lot of people don't even realize this or don't remember it. But right before fighting Canelo, Edgar Berlanga fought Jason Quigley, UK guy, decent boxer. Yo, he went the distance and that shit was life and death. It was life and death. You could even say Berlanga was gifted that W. Right before that fight, Edgar Berlanga was in a dogfight with a guy most of you never seen in your whole life. And Berlanga was in a dogfight with homie. So, what happened after? Canelo took care of business. Hamza Shiraz took care of business. And before those beatings, you got to see signs of it. You got to see the red flags, like, damn. So now what did we see with Tank Davis? He got beat by Lamont Roach and he got gifted a draw. And even if you say he didn't get beat, but he went from knocking everybody out, now he got this draw with this 130-pounder. A guy that you cherry-picked, you hand-picked him. Yo, here, come on, man, I'm going to give you a shot. And this guy took you the distance and put all type of hands on you. That's right there, the kink in the armor. What you think happens next if Lamont Roach would have got that shot for that rematch? I told you what was going to happen in the rematch. And I can't prove to you that that's what was going to happen. But I can tell you, Tank Duck, he believed me. Young Guns, will you give Canelo full credit for beating Crawford? Why not? Why wouldn't I give him full credit? There's no reason why I wouldn't. It's two great fighters, two pound for pound fighters. There's no reason to not. It, yo, that question is only asked by Canelo fans. Canelo fans, will you give him credit? Will you give him credit? I don't even know why you guys asked that question. The real question, Young Guns, is, will you give Crawford credit? Or will you find another excuse? Because some of you already not giving Crawford credit. Some of you are already saying, well, you know, Canelo's not the same, and Crawford, he's on snack, and you don't know, they probably cheating. Are you gonna give Crawford credit if he whoops Canelo? Or are you gonna go into the excuse book like you guys did when he put the beats on Errol? Because historically, it's Crawford who just you guys don't want to give credit for his accomplishments. It's almost like you think that the same energy you give Crawford, people gonna give Canelo. But look at the difference, my guy. While you spent a bunch of time trying to discredit Crawford, trying to discredit his opponents, trying to diminish his accomplishments, I sit here and I tell you that Canelo's a great fighter. A pound for pound fighter, one of the best Mexican fighters of all time, an all-time great. So if I'm complimenting Canelo on his skills, why would I hate on his win? There's no need to hate. Now you guys, the way you always hating on Crawford, it looks like you're gonna find a way to hate if he wins. It looks like you're gonna find a way to not give credit. It looks like it. So because you are not going to give credit, you never give credit to Crawford, you think that people might not give credit to Canelo the same way. And that's not the case. We don't behave like y'all, bro. We don't think like y'all. We don't discredit that fighter so that I could uplift my guy. He's no good. My guy is the best. He didn't beat nobody. He didn't do nothing in boxing. My guy, my guy. We don't need to do that, bro. I could tell you both fighters are great. Both fighters are world champions. And the winner is going to have a great win in his resume. Boxing on paper, do you think Naoya Inoue versus Nick Bol will be a close fight? I think that Nick Bol could make it interesting, but he very good fighter. I like the way he applies pressure, power, hits hard. But Naoya Inoue, I think, is sharper. You know, if you think about it, Nick Bol, especially on the inside, he throws a lot of looping punches. I could see Naoya Inoue catching him. And then look at the difference. He throws a lot of looping punches. Naoya Inoue throws a lot of straight ones. Bang, 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 bang. So, that's a problem for Nick Bol. If you ever box, you know a straight punch beats a looping one 9 out of 10 times. Unless the looping one was a setup and you see the straight coming and you counter, boom, go over it, that's different. But if we throw at the same time and you looping and I'm going straight, you hurt. You're going to do one of these, boom. You're going to do one of those. So I think that Naoya Inoue, as sharp as he is, and because of his style, he beats Nick Bol. And gets to a point where he dominates him. He'll dominate him. The Hydro Grind, Inoue has been dropped twice in 2 last fights, and Nick Bol has a lot of power. That doesn't really mean anything. Getting dropped doesn't mean anything, bro. Tito Trinidad got dropped. How many times Tito Trinidad got dropped? In the welterweight division. Yeah, he never lost a fight in the welterweight division, and he knocked out every opponent who dropped him. So, you know, it's an interesting talking point, but it's meaningless, really. Inoue stopped everybody who dropped him just like Tito Trinidad did. So, see, this is the thing. Look, let me tell you something to Hydro Grind that you may find interesting when it comes to fighters getting dropped. If you're a fighter who likes to fight on the inside, you can get dropped. People who fight on the inside and like to trade they can have more of an opportunity of getting dropped than a boxer that's on his toes, that's moving around, because it's harder to catch you flush. And let me just point something out to Hydro Grind that I bet you didn't realize. Watch this. Watch this. And you're going to see it's a no factor. In fact, I'm going to find the video for you right now and show it to you. So you can see that once again, I never cap. The human algorithm. Watch this. You see how, and Jay will too. Lit Gang, what do you think it'll take Boost to get some big names? Who do you think he should fight next? Well, he's going to get 2 tune-ups. That's already been established. He's going to get a big name. What is going to take? Win the 2 tune-ups. He's going to get Virgil Ortiz. He's going to get Virgil Ortiz early 2026. That plan is already set in motion. I want to show you guys something about Naoya Inoue. Since you guys are pointing out that he's been dropped. And this is going to be very interesting for you. Naoya Inoue. What was the name of his last fight? It was Cardenas that dropped him? Was it Cardenas that dropped him? Let me see. Hold on. I want to show you guys something interesting. Naoya Inoue gets knocked down. Here we go. Here we go. Watch this. Watch this. I want to show you something, my people. I want to show you something, my people. Look. I'm going to show you the knockdown versus Ramos. Look at this knockdown. Look at the knockdown. I want you to see his feet. Look at his feet. Look at his feet. Boom. You see his feet? Look at his feet once again. Look at his feet. Not in that replay. I want to check out the next replay. Look at his feet right there. Boom. Look at his feet. Boom. You saw that? So what I'm trying to show you is that he was stepping forward, and when he did this, 1 foot forward, and his feet was squared like this, he got hit. Boom. And he just didn't have the balance. If your feet are like this, square, and you get hit, you don't have the balance or the leverage to stay up. So he got hit with a good shot. But he didn't go down because he was hurt. He went down because he was off balance. That's it. So when you say, oh, well, he's been dropped and this guy got power, you're suggesting that he's been dropped because he couldn't handle these shots. You're suggesting that he got hit hard and he went down. But in reality, he didn't go down because he got hit hard. That's part of it. But he went down because he was standing squared when he took the shot. Now watch this. Watch this. I'm going to show you another knockdown from Naoya Inoue. And I'm proving to you. Look at this one. Look at this one, my people. Look at the other knockdown. Look at this other knockdown. Watch. Look at this knockdown. Look at his feet. Once again, look at Naoya Inoue's feet, my peoples. Look. Oh, no, wait. He knocked his opponent. He took his opponent out right after that. But I want you to see. Look at his feet, my people. Look, when he got hit right there. Look at his feet for this knockdown. And look what he was doing. You see his hand? Look at his hand. Look. You saw that? When he got knocked down right there. Yo, look, I want to show you guys. When he got knocked down, he was going like this, swinging. And he got hit. Boom. And he fell. So what I'm trying to show you, my peoples, Inoue hasn't been knocked down because he got hit and he got hurt bad. He been knocked down because he was in an exchange and his feet was not set. Got caught with a good shot and went down. All of his knockdowns have been because he was not set. Boom. Took a shot off balance, went down. But you ain't seen him hurt. You never seen him wobble. We never seen Naoya Inoue get up from one of those knockdowns and be like this and they got to save him. The bell saved him or something like that. And he goes into clinch mode. This guy has gotten up from those knockdowns and knocked those same very guys out. those same guys, he knocked them out, bro. And I showed you the replay. The Hydro Grind, yo, Jay Smith. This is why I love this show. I appreciate it, my brother. And this is why, and this is the difference between watching boxing from somebody who don't know shit about boxing, who's just out there floating a narrative, and somebody who knows what the hell's going on inside the ring. I don't just watch the fight. I study tape and I watch the fights multiple times. I know exactly why he went down. And we never seen Naoya Inoue hurt. We never seen him wobble. We never seen him shaking. We see him get up from a knockdown and absolutely destroy his opponents shortly after. Sometimes in the following round, boom, blow him out of there. So if you was talking to somebody that just into spreading narratives and looking for likes and looking for views, they will run with it. Yeah, Naoya Inoue been down a bunch of times, and he's definitely gonna get knocked out. Glass chin. They will be selling you the glass chin. But go watch the replay and you're gonna find out, nah, he just got hit with a good shot at the right time and went down. It wasn't even close to being hurt. Ever. He's never been hurt. And he's ate some big shots, bro. Big shots. He didn't get dropped by the biggest shots he ate. He got dropped by the shots that caught him at the right time. Jay Will, was able to deal with a broken orbital bone against Nonito Donaire in 2019 and still win. That was impressive. Come on now. Come on now. Look, Naoya Inoue is a fighter that from the get-go, I've been rocking with him. Dame esto primero. From the first time, the very first time that I watched a whole fight of Naoya Inoue was when he fought Nonito Donaire. That was the first time. I had never seen him before. I had seen some highlights. But when he fought Nonito, that first fight, that's the first time that I saw a full fight of his. And I was impressed. I was like, that's it. When I saw him, I made a comment about Naoya Inoue, and people was laughing at me. I said that Naoya Inoue, to me, and this was early on when a lot of people didn't even know him. I said, to me, he looks like a better version of Manny Pacquiao. A better version. Think about that. That's what I see in Naoya Inoue. A better Pac-Man. Imagine that shit. Get up and go to work. Destroys his opponent. Superman, salute. Imada 210. Damn, Jay Smith. I didn't get notifications. No, but I'm still searching on YouTube for Boxing for Breakfast. Appreciate you dropping in, my brother. Yeah, it's going down, This is episode 3 of Boxing for Breakfast, the shadow ban episodes, my peoples. I don't know how long I'm going to be shadow banned for. Check it. This is my breakfast right here. So, if you're having breakfast, enjoy it. Salute. If you're on your way to work, drive safely. And enjoy yourself a healthy dosage of sweet science. Right here, Boxing for Breakfast, my peoples. Go get the money. Inoue is an aggressive fighter. Frito, no way. You don't disrespect Pacquiao. I'm not disrespecting Pacquiao. I consider him one of the greatest of all time. Why would it be disrespect that I consider another fighter better? That's not disrespect at all. The thing is that fake boxing fans, don't know how to respect fighters. So they feel like to say that this guy's great, they got to knock this guy. Look at what Crawford and Canelo. In order to uplift Canelo, you feel like, oh, Crawford ain't beat nobody. His record ain't know that. He's a hype job. That's crazy. In order to uplift Canelo, people feel like they gotta hate on Crawford. No, that's not the case. I'm not disrespecting Pacquiao. I consider him one of the greatest of all time. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? The Hydro Grind is no disrespect for Pacquiao is a legend. But you gotta give Inoue his flowers. It's a matter of opinion. They're both great fighters. They both accomplished. Manny Pacquiao, how many times he got beat? Inoue hasn't been beat yet. So you can formulate whatever opinion you want. But considering one guy better than the other, that's not hate. That's not hate at all. That's your opinion. That's like me telling you, Frito, that you're a Crawford hater or you're a Shakur hater because the stuff that you be saying. That's just your opinion. You know it beat nobody compared to Manny. Your opinion. Pacquiao be Hall of Fame and 3 Mexican. Okay. You know it hasn't fought. Okay, that's your opinion. And Frito, you say you know it hasn't fought enough elite fighters. That's you formulated that opinion because you can't even name anybody in the divisions that you know it fought. If you don't Google it right now, you can't name a single name of the people he fought. So that's what you call formulating a blind opinion and fooling yourself into believing yourself because you don't even know who he fought. He didn't fight enough elite fighters, and you don't even know who he fought. You can't name the people that he fought right here if you don't Google them. So you're actually 100% wrong. You know it has been fighting elite level fighters for the last 5-6 years, back to back to back, all of them. So there you have it. You just, you wanna make an argument. You wanna sound like you know what you're talking about. You don't. Superman, Shadow Band Jay Smith, still fire. My peoples, the train don't stop. Somebody asked me if I was gonna wait till the shadow ban finished to continue the show. What? What do you mean? Why would I do that? So the people that's on here right now don't deserve boxing for breakfast because I'm shadow banned? What's wrong with you, bro? Come on now. Come on, my people. But again, I think that Naoya Inoue right now is one of those fighters who nobody beats. The one person who I give a chance is Bam. If they end up facing each other, I give Bam a chance. Like Naoya Inoue versus Bam Rodriguez, it's a fight that I can't even predict right now. I can't predict it. For me to tell you who I think wins that fight, I first have to see that it's going to happen. If it is going to happen, I'll sit down and analyze it and try to come up with something. But right now, I can't even tell you. The Hydro Grind, Roach versus Pitbull. Who you got? Roach versus Pitbull. I got Shakur. I don't want to hear about Roach versus Pitbull. I know you're a Tank fan, and you don't want Shakur to beat up the guy that beat the hell out of Tank. But I want Shakur versus Tank. I know you don't want Shakur to beat up Roach. But that's what I want. Frito, Junto Nakatani, that's a good fight. He'll give Naoya Inoue a interesting, a competitive showdown. Still getting beat up. Superman, feeding nonsense against Frito. Come back for the healthy breakfast today. Go get the, Frito, he likes to contradict. He likes to find the angle where he could be the one contradicting. That's cool. Go get the money. Roach, the Hydro Grind. Damn, Inoue versus Bam. Look, Inoue versus Bam is going to be a heck of a fight. If or when it happens. Inoue has already mentioned Bam's name. So that Bam is in his radar. And Bam has mentioned Inoue. And they have gone back and forth. People have asked them questions about each other. And they've answered them. So that's something that could be building up. The only situation is, I think Naoya Inoue is said that he can only wait for Bam for a certain amount of time. No. Hold on, what weight class Naoya Inoue is in right now? I can't remember the weight class, guys. You could tell me in the chat. But Naoya Inoue said something along the lines that he could only wait a certain amount of time. Like, can't just sit there waiting for Bam to move up. So, let's see. Okay, 122. So, I think it was last year. I'm not sure if it was this year or last year that Naoya Inoue said, I can only wait for him for a certain amount of time. Which leads me to believe that eventually we're going to see the monster at 126. And if he goes to 126, we're not going to see Bam at 126 no time soon, if ever. Because Bam is a small guy. So I don't think, if Naoya Inoue goes to 126, we might see them down the line at a catch weight. I don't know if Bam will ever go to that weight class. Maybe he will. I don't know. Jay Will, 122, Bam 115, June to 118. It stops Nick Ball. Yeah, I see him stopping Nick Ball. I see a good fight. And I see Nick Ball having a certain level of success. But eventually, the monster is going to pick him apart. Superman, Bam too small, currently right. Yeah, he's too small. So, that's the only thing keeping us from Bam versus Inoue right now. The size. But, Inoue is himself a very small guy too. It's like 5'3" or 5'2". He a very small guy too. So, that fight could happen in the future. We'll have to see. Only thing is, I don't want this fight to happen versus a washed up Inoue or something like that. Inoue about to be 40 and shit. Bam in his 30s. I'd like that fight to happen within the next couple of years. At least. With Bam fighting at 115, that fight is not going to happen soon. You can't even... That's not something that you can even hope for. Ernest Morales. The haters of July 13th mega fight will never give Canelo or Bud their props. Bro, Canelo and Crawford have so many haters that these people already formulated the arguments for if they win. There's already people who found the reason why they're not going to give credit to Terence Crawford if he wins this fight. They already know. They already put in their excuses out there. Bro, somebody told me, straight up me, if Terence Crawford wins, that means that he was doing steroids. God damn. Just like that. Just like that, my people. Jay Will. Jay Smith, are you against young fighters matching up early on in their career as opposed to marinating fights? I don't have a problem with matching them young in their career. But I think sometimes fights should be marinated. I'll give you an example of both cases so you can see what I mean. If you look at Boots and Virgil Ortiz, right now I don't have a problem with waiting for that fight. And the reason I don't have that problem is because neither one of them is a world champion. And I think it's going to be a much bigger, more important fight if they're fighting with something at stake, a world title. So I don't have a problem with waiting a little bit for that one, for early 2026. But then there's going to be fights that I'm like, we could do that right now. I'll be good with it. Example, Floyd Scofield, Abdullah Mason. No need to marinate. Abdullah Mason is about to become a world champion right now. So if Abdullah Mason becomes a world champion, did he just turn 22, I think? 21, 22? Well then, two guys in the early 20s in Abdullah Mason and Floyd Scofield could face each other. No need to marinate that fight. No need. Now, to give you another example of a fight that you do need to marinate is Carmel Moulton and Zaquin Moses. Why? Because these two young lions, they're obviously both undefeated. Obviously, both are headed for world titles. Obviously, both have superstar potential. So when you have this, you don't just put them out there without either one of them having accomplished anything. It's going to be a meaningless fight. It's going to be a meaningless fight with not a lot of views. It's not going to generate a lot of money. Why do it now? When waiting a few years, this fight is millions and millions of dollars. So in that case, I say, yeah, you got to marinate that. It'd be interesting to see them fight next. Hell yeah. It'd be interesting. But it's not going to be more interesting than seeing them fight in 3-4 years when they both world champions, when they both accomplished. That's going to be an explosion, and it's going to be way more interesting. So we got to be, sometimes I say we have to be patient and wait for the right time so that the fight can be as big as it can. The hydro grind. The hydro grind. Some fighters need more marinating time, and others are ready to jump right in. I agree. Brian Romero, how you see Crawford winning this fight? Like in what way? Bivol way, Floyd way, or the way Crawford beat Spence? So, I said this before. Floyd Mayweather and Dimitri Bivol, they schooled Canelo. It was more of a schooling. Pop, 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 pop. Just outboxing them. There was nothing Canelo could do. They made it look easy. It's hard for me to say that Crawford is going to make it look easy for 12 rounds. But it's easy for me to say that he's going to beat Canelo more than Crawford and Bivol as far as a physical beating. He's going to beat him up like these two guys did not beat him up. These two guys outboxed him, outpointed him, landed some good shots, but Crawford's going to land some hard shots, and is going to beat him up. And even don't be surprised if it gets to the point where Crawford is dominating him. Like, for the championship rounds, and when I say dominating him, I'm referring to the same way with Dimitri Bivol, that Canelo just couldn't get going. He just couldn't get, his punch output. He couldn't land as accurately as he's used to. We might actually see that same situation play out in Canelo versus Crawford. Go get the money. Like the Shakur and Roach fight doesn't need to marinate. Oh, no. But in reality, that fight, I would say, it doesn't even fit into this conversation because Shakur's already in his late 20s. Lamont Roach is in his late 20s. They're already established fighters, established names. That would be more focused towards fighters who are in their early 20s, who are early in their boxing career. Should we match them up with each other? A guy who's 18 and a guy who's 19, should they fight each other? In some cases, they should. I say if these two young fighters, right, let's say two 18-year-olds who are both 19 and 0, and they're both really good, but nobody knows them. They're not famous. They can fight each other. You know why? Because they could fight each other, and no matter who wins, 4 or 5 years down the line, when both of them become more famous, they could do a rematch. We've seen that before. We've seen that happen. ¿Qué hora es? Dime cuándo son las 8. So, if two fighters are not well known, you can let them have at it. And then down the line, they can meet again. If Carmel Moulton and Zaquin Moses didn't have the star power that they have at this age, I would say let them fight each other right now. Let them fight, and then they can meet down the line 5-6 years from now, 3-4 years from now, whenever it is. But there's no point in making them fight this early and having one of them two walk out of there with an L at this time in their career. There's no point in that. Let them keep growing. Let them keep growing their popularity. I was just talking about that earlier. That popularity is super important now, especially if you're a young fighter coming up. Let them keep growing their fan base. Keep developing themselves as fighters and as men. Jay Will, I just hate when a young fighter gets upset or we lose out on a big fight like Wilder versus AJ when Ruiz beat AJ. Man, that was tough. That was tough. But to be honest, upsets are good for boxing because they also bring in a new storyline. They bring the unexpected. Who would have thought that Andy Ruiz was going to stop AJ? Nobody would have thought that. And then for the next fight, we were giving him a chance to win it, and then AJ made it look easy. Outboxed him and never really let him get going. I'm super disappointed, to be honest, in the way that Andy Ruiz's career has played out after he beat AJ, simply because I see the talent that he has, and I would say right now, Andy Ruiz is actually an underachiever, not an overachiever. I know that when he won the title by upset, we felt like he was an overachiever, right? Because he wasn't supposed to win. But now it feels like he's an underachiever because, number one, you saw how he showed up to the rematch with AJ, super overweight, looked like a different fighter, like he was partying too much and having too much fun with all his new money and his new fame, and didn't really put the work in that he was supposed to for that rematch, and paid dearly. And then after that, we haven't really seen Andy Ruiz, we haven't seen him the same. Go get the money. Ruiz is back in the gym now. The thing about that is that Andy was back in the gym like a year ago and like 2 years ago. So he'll go to the gym and start getting in shape and training, but then I guess a fight doesn't happen and he'll stop going to the gym. And then eventually he'll start going back. I don't know what's the reason for the inactivity. A lot of PBC fighters have been inactive. So I don't know if it's related to that. I know that he was trying to get a fight last year and it fell through. Then he got injured. So it's tough, man, because Andy Ruiz, he's a guy that I felt like should have, after losing to AJ, I felt like he should have won another title. He should have been a champion again. With the skill set that he has, he should have been a champion again. And it's been so much time of inactivity. So you just don't know what is he going to be able to do at this time when he comes back. Jay Smith, it's crazy because for a big, shorter guy like Ruiz, he has really fast hands. And he's been that way. If you go back and you watch videos of his amateur fights, he's been that way. He's been that way. If you watch his fights, this tall, chubby kid, this short, chubby kid with some fast-ass hands, he's always been a combination puncher. I've seen old videos of Andy Ruiz, and he's always been, since he was a kid, a combination, 3, 4, 5 punches. Frito, if somebody tries to take down your house with a sledgehammer, that's next door. I don't know what the hell they fixing some shit next door. But again, my peoples, Andy Ruiz, he's very, very talented. Ring IQ, the offensive firepower is serious. But it's unfortunate, man, motherfucker. But it's unfortunate, man, that Andy Ruiz experienced all this inactivity. Let me get the hell out of here, man. Fuck it. Motherfuckers over there hammering away. Andy Ruiz, my peoples, could have accomplished a lot more if he stayed active.
Yo voy a ir para Tiaque.
Yeah, give me a hug. Are you gonna give me a hug? Good morning. You wanna say good morning to
Me
the
quiero
people?
llevar a mi Nakut.
You wanna take Knuckles with you?
Sí.
Sure. Go get the money. They beating the shit out of some. Ryan Romero. People say,
Esto, papá.
oh, people say the Crawford. Good job. Hold on. People say the Crawford is not going to be able to take Canelo's power. What do you think about that? I think that people make an assumption, and everybody's entitled to that assumption, but they're going to be disappointed when he does take Canelo's power. And I'm going to tell you why. And I'm going to tell you why that I want you to consider this. Remember when Crawford was going to fight Errol Spence? And they said, he's, imagine if Gamboa hurt him. What is Errol Spence going to do? Imagine if he couldn't even handle little Gamboa's power. Imagine Errol. And how did that really help Errol Spence? It didn't help him, right? Errol Spence still got pummeled regardless of what Gamboa did years prior. So all I would say is this about people that say Canelo Crawford might not be able to take his power. Think about this, Branjo. I want you to think about this. Terence Crawford has 41 professional fights. He's never been stopped. Obviously, he's undefeated. He's never been knocked down. He's never been in a fight where, oh shit, he lost. This guy's 41-0, bro. And he's never been hurt. He got wobbled twice and stopped both of those fighters. Stopped Gamboa and stopped Mean Machine. Stopped them. The guys that wobble him a little bit. So why would anyone assume that Crawford can't handle the power? Because they don't want him to handle the power. They want him to get knocked out. They praying and hoping that he lose. So it's not about that he can't handle it. Forget about him not handling it. It's more about people projecting what they wish. That's what it's really about. They want Crawford to get knocked out. They hoping Crawford get knocked out. So that's all they say. I don't know if he could handle the power. I don't think he could handle the power. That's really the projection and the fake confidence and the hope that he loses by knockout. Oh, good stuff, Ryan.
Arato.
Give me a hug. Whoa, my peoples, we broke a record. First of all, to those of you who just tuned in, it's another episode of Boxing for Breakfast. I'm Jay Smith. We talking boxing. And I've been shadow banned for the last 3 days. I don't know why YouTube decided to do me like this, but this is the third shadow ban episode. This is what I'm calling it. The shadow ban episodes. As long as I'm shadow banned, that's what I'm going to be putting in the title. Boxing for Breakfast, the shadow ban episode. This is the third one. The Hydro Grand Crawford will handle the power by clinching. Why would he handle the power by clinching when Floyd Mayweather and Dimitri Bivol didn't handle the power by clinching? Why would Bud have to? Think about it. You know how he's gonna handle the power? He's gonna handle it by using his footwork. He's gonna handle it by partially blocking punches. He's gonna handle it by slipping punches. He's gonna handle it by taking some punches and not taking them flush. He's gonna handle it by taking some big punches and handling it the same way that he's handled taking punches just like that from other big fighters. There is absolutely no reason for me to think that he's not gonna handle it. I've seen Crawford fighting, 20, 30 fights? Because I haven't seen all of them. Let's not cap now. We didn't see Crawford when he started his career. But I've seen a lot of his fights. I've never seen absolutely anything that suggests to me he's not going to be able to handle power. But I have seen 2 different fights that suggest to me Canelo can be outboxed and made to look easy. Twice. I think there's a better argument for why Crawford cannot box Canelo and make it look easy, that there's an argument to make why he can't take the power. Because there's really no argument to suggest that he can't take the power. But there's a very good argument to make why Canelo could be made to look easy. Frito, it sounds like you think weight classes don't matter. No, Frito, it just sounds like you think weight is more important than skills. There's a reason why fighters will tell you skills pay the bills. It's all about the skills. You could cling on to the weight. Oh, the weight, and the size, and the strength. But on September 13th, you're going to find out one more time why skills pay the bills. You're going to really find out what that phrase means. Because you don't understand what the phrase means. You know, you cling on to the power and the size, but you're going to understand when that fight happens, you're going to understand that skills supersedes power 9 out of 10 times. Frito, Canelo has skills and size. Yes, he has skills and size, but guess what? You only bring up skills when you're pressed about skills. When I mention skills, you bring up skills. But go back and read your comment. What did you say? It sounds like you think weight classes don't matter. Your first and primary comment was about weight. What's about size? What's about strength? Skills is your secondary comment. That's your secondary go-to. Because you realize, oh shit, well, we got to talk about skills now. But you never bring up skills as a primary argument. You never bring up, yo, Canelo's more skilled. He's gonna win that. Nah, you bring up the size. And then you try to respond about skills when pressed about it. No, Canelo's not a more skillful fighter than Crawford. And you know that because even now you haven't said that. You'll say he's stronger, you'll say he's bigger, but you will not say he's more skillful. Because you know he's not. We all know he's not. Frito, Canelo has chin, power, defense, jab, body attacks over Bud. That's your opinion. That's the problem. You see, that's your opinion. And I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go on a limb, right? I'm going to go on a limb, Frito, and assume that you never boxed in your life. So if you never have boxed in your life, be honest. How good could your opinion really be? How good? If you watch 10 movies about flying planes, how good were your opinion about flying planes is going to be? So you could drill that all day long if you want. Oh, Canelo has chin. Well, wait a minute. Crawford has chin. He never been down. Canelo has power. Well, wait a minute. Crawford has power. He has a high knockout percentage. Canelo has defense. Well, wait a minute. Crawford actually gets hit less than Canelo per fight. Canelo has a jab. Well, Crawford has a great jab. Canelo has body attack. Well, Crawford has body attack. In fact, he stopped opponents to the body. So, my brother, Frito, formulating a bunch of favorable opinions against Canelo when you never boxed a day in your life, that's actually absolutely meaningless, bro. It could make you feel good, and it could make you feel like you sound like you know what you're talking about, but that's just the opinion of somebody who never boxed a day in their life. That's all that is. When you watch the fight, though, you're going to find out. But has more pencil neck, Frito, but has more pencil neck. Canelo neck is thick, made for impact. Okay, and what did Canelo's neck do for him when Floyd and Dimitri Bivol made it look easy for him? Made him look like a pizza delivery driver. How did that help him?
Mira esto.
The hydrogram, Frito, keep it clean, facts.
Mira esto.
Remember, you went timeout yesterday.
Mira esto, papá.
All right, pero estamos bien. Eso es una sola vez. Just do it one time and that's it. You don't have to keep doing it. Yeah. Go get the money. Sit back and watch and learn. How would you like me to spell it?
Papá, lo tenemos.
All right. JJ Sender has Crawford. Crawford, the fuck out of here. My peoples, listen. Salute to everybody who tuned in this morning. Y'all already know this is Boxing for Breakfast, the shadow ban episodes. So most people won't get to see these episodes because y'all know what it is. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. JJ Sender has Go Get the Money, the Hydro Grind. Who else tuned in today? Frito was in the building with his hating ass. JJ Sender has Superman. And everybody else who tuned in, my peoples. Jay Will was also in the building. Braño Romero always But Angel Romero, you could tell he know boxing. He know his boxing stuff with everything he talk about. Appreciate everybody tuning in today, man. And you already know what it is. Tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time, Boxing for Breakfast is going to be lit. Just the way that it is every single day. We talking boxing, my people. We doing what we do. And by the way, don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And I'm working on some new projects for you guys. I'm working on some new things. So stay tuned. I got some very interesting stuff coming up. I know you guys are going to be excited. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Yo, this is Boxing for Breakfast. I'm Jay Smith. I'm getting the hell out of here, man. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.
Hace mucho calor, papá.
¿Cómo? Hace mucho. Oh, wait a minute, my peoples. Wait a minute. How I almost just left. How I almost just got out of here and didn't give you the last words of wisdom from Jay Smith to start off your day. Hold on. Today, on Wednesday, September the 3rd of 2025, I want to tell you that you have to be smart about the things that you do. Let's think about how what I do affects my future. How what I do affects my present. Let's stop doing things based on emotions and think. Because a little mistake can mess up not just your day, not just your week. A little mistake can mess up the rest of your life. Or can mess up a long stretch of your life. So my peoples, don't act on emotions. Always think about what you're going to do before you do it. Y'all already know, man. I'm Jay Smith, a.k.a. Jay Stradamus, a.k.a. The Human Algorithm, a.k.a. Shadow Band Jay. I'm out of here, my peoples. One love.